We are somehow already a quarter of the way through the year, which means it is time to talk about the top 10 best movies of the year so far. Now, these only account for films that have entered wide release from the months of January, February, and March. Movies like Monkey Man and Civil War won't be included because I, for one, haven't seen them yet, and two, they weren't released in quarter one. They will more than likely be in the top 10 list for the following quarter, especially since I barely had 10 films I even liked from this one. With that out of the way, let's get into some nitty-gritty, shall we? The Beekeeper is a ridiculously dumb film. Dumb fun, but dumb nonetheless. If I had $1 for every stupid bee pun in this movie, I would have enough money to single-handedly fund the sequel.
Honey?
It's flammable as fuck. Who knew?
David Ayer is a perfect choice for director for a movie like this. He takes the simple premise and small budget and turns it into a bombastic action film with style. Jason Statham also brings his A-game with hand-to-hand combat to showcase his incredible versatility.
I figured I'd give the firefighters a break.
Somebody detain this guy.
If you are a fan of old-school silly action movies, this is a must-see. And I would even go as far as to say, worth the price of admission in theaters.
My fingers, he cut them off. Oh, what the fuck, bro?
Don't move.
Bob Marley: One Love is a moving film. It's not about the success and musical career of Marley, but about his voice being used as a beacon for peace, and the price to pay for such a movement. We do see the traditional and borderline formulaic set of events in that of other musical artists' biopics, from the humble living room jams to studio recording sessions and the inevitable concert outings. What this movie in particular does so well, however, is humanizing the artist to the audience thanks to the amazing effort for authenticity from the cast and filmmakers. It doesn't quite hit that emotional high, and sometimes the Jamaican accents are a little too thick to decipher. Yes, even more so than the real Bob Marley himself, but a solid time at the movies nonetheless.
No guns can stop this message. I want the world to change. And that time is now.
Jack Black continues to do a good job portraying Poe, but to be honest, the standouts here are Viola Davis as the film's villain, and Awkwafina as Poe's new tag-along. They both immerse themselves in their roles, giving their characters personality and depth, while Poe just feels like Jack Black having fun behind a microphone. The fight scenes are once again spectacular, complemented by a thunderous score and sound effects. The animation of the film itself is often gorgeous, retaining the visual flair established in the previous outings, but at times you could tell the budget was cut because all of a sudden, the quality drops and some characters look less detailed than before. This does not mean that Kung Fu Panda 4 is a bad film. On the contrary, I would suggest you watch it in cinemas if you or your kids enjoyed the previous films. However, it misses some of the secret ingredients that made the earlier films so special.
I'm sure she's looking forward to having you home safe and sound.
He's not doing well. He misses his wife.
Unlike a lot of folks on Twitter, I very much like this film. I never found it boring, and it held a lump in my throat all throughout the third act, which hasn't happened to me in quite some time. Despite its shortcomings, Spaceman is still a very well-done film that I would recommend to people who like untraditional science fiction that explores the themes of loss and regret.
Everything that begins must end. I'm not allowing that.
You go where I go, and I go where you go.
I just want to come home.
Argylle is probably one of the most ridiculous movies I have ever seen, void of all logic, but not lacking in indistinguishable style, and I loved it.
The book is phenomenal, sweetie, but what happens next?
It's called a cliffhanger, Mother.
Ellie, it's called a cop-out.
It is so silly and over the top, but in a way that it kept up its momentum. It's probably a bit too long, and I'm sure a lot of people will think it's dumb as shit, but for me, it was a perfectly fun time in the cinemas.
It's a miracle. You are with child.
Immaculate follows a modern-day take on an immaculate conception inside the walls of an oddly reclusive convent. As time goes on, however, things aren't really what they seem. The story takes many twists and turns, making you question what you remember and even what you are seeing.
Out of all the women in the world, why did he choose me? How can we trust what's inside you?
Sydney Sweeney is fantastic in the lead role. In fact, her creative impact is far more profound than I anticipated, with credits as a producer and years spent advocating for this story to make it to screen. There is a minute-plus long sequence of her screaming into the camera, and I was in awe of the dedication to the shot. On a technical level, the film is beautiful to behold. The old Italian architecture oozes history, and the cinematography glorifies the setting's haunting but tranquil atmosphere. There aren't a lot of jump scares, thank God. Instead, the film takes the more creative approach by creating fear with atmosphere and disturbing imagery. Horror movies can be some of the best and worst cinema can offer. They can rely on cheap bullshit and torture porn, or they can actually be good movies that effectively capture horror and dread. Immaculate is one of the best horror films in the last few years, and I would recommend you see it in theaters if you think you have the stomach for it. There is definitely room for controversy, so keep that in mind.
So you like to fight? You ever win?
No one ever wins a fight.
Roadhouse, despite retaining some narrative similarities to the original film, deviates significantly in style, location, and character development. This version of Dalton comes from a very different background, and we meet him down on his luck instead of at the top of his game. I have to say though, I actually like the changes that they made to this story. It makes it unique enough that it doesn't have much in common at all with the original film, and contrasts as its own beast. A raw and gritty B-movie set in an unpoliced Florida Keys. What's not to like?
Don't let no one get this close.
Acting is pretty solid across the board. They all know what film they are in, and the movie is all the better for it. Jake Gyllenhaal brings 100% to this role as usual, but I'd be lying if I said the standout wasn't Conor McGregor. Jesus Christ, this performance is hilarious. Yeah, he's kind of just playing himself, but in a movie like this, playing opposite of Jake, holy shit, the genuinely hilarious diva attitude could jump out of the screen and bop you in the face. It's that silly, and it's perfect for this story. It's not all bombastic, though. I was surprised how much time was dedicated to the quieter scenes that explored the town and its characters within. It's a great juxtaposition to the cartoonish level of violence and silliness.
You just take a big step back and pop me in the face. You can do it.
Roadhouse is a great reimagining. It is more aggressive, less romantic, and a lot more exotic. The characters are hilarious and the action is relentless. I would definitely recommend anyone to check it out if they are a fan of fighting movies.
I just slapped you. Are you alright? What?
This race doesn't define you.
I raced for 19 years. This is my last chance to win.
3, 2.
Arthur the King recounts the remarkable tale of a man named Michael who forms a bond with an injured dog amidst a grueling 10-day, 435-mile adventure race. As with many films claiming to be based on true stories, this one also alters reality to some extent. Nonetheless, according to my readings, its artistic deviations are far less significant than recent musician biopics, primarily involving slight adjustments to timelines and locations, presumably to impart a more contemporary feel. Without revealing any plot details, the film offers an intensely emotional experience for dog lovers. Yet, even for those who aren't particularly fond of dogs, the story possesses ample depth to keep you fully engaged. Mark Wahlberg delivers a commendable performance in this movie. Although he sometimes appears to be going through the motions in his roles, in this case he demonstrated genuine commitment, approaching the material with the same seriousness he brought to Deepwater Horizon and Patriots Day. The rest of the cast is fine. None particularly stood out as impressive or bad because the real star of the show is that adorable dog.
Hey, what happened to you, boy? You don't look so good. Meatball? Look, somebody likes my meatballs.
From a technical standpoint, the film is visually stunning. Although it begins somewhat unevenly, the momentum builds seamlessly as it progresses into the race, maintaining its pace throughout. The authenticity of the locations is palpable, convincingly real without ever resembling a set or relying on green screen effects. The cinematography masterfully conveys the expansive wilderness of the Dominican Republic's jungles and the intense challenges they present. The sound design significantly enhances this realism, with raindrops seeming to fall around me or wildlife rustling in the underbrush. While the film does take certain creative liberties, I am not an absolutist in search of authenticity. Provided that the essence of the story and characters remains intact, my primary desire is for a compelling film. Arthur the King delivers just that, an inspiring tale about an unshakable bond formed in the fire of resilience in the face of adversity. I would recommend you check it out in cinemas.
This dog needs a vet. I don't want you to hurt anymore. No. He's a fighter.
Just like you.
The New Empire continues the trend of transforming this once gravely serious franchise into a realm of cartoonish madness. While one might assume this to be detrimental, it's executed with such confidence that it stands out as possibly the most memorable installment. This is largely due to a shift in focus towards our characters. Humans remain crucial, yet Kong is the central protagonist. This shift allows for the world to be enriched through excellently crafted dialogue-free sequences, letting Kong, and perhaps new friends, to merely exist. This lends heart and personality that has been previously missing from the series. The new adversaries are formidable, with even Godzilla facing a race against time to ready himself for the impending challenges. The human characters do have a reduced role in terms of screen time, but do still play a part in the grand narrative. Thankfully, they aren't as annoying or worthless this time around, so there is that. They aren't particularly interesting, but don't stick out as terrible either. On a technical aspect, the film is solidly crafted. The CGI is a lot less detailed than before, but it's not objectively bad. The sound design is still top-notch, and I have to say the art direction is truly something to behold. Let's be honest though, most people come for the action, and the action has got you covered. I was laughing and nodding like a child watching these titans murder each other, and I have to say, while it might not be the best film I've seen this year, it is definitely the most fun I've had in the theater this year so far. Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire is goofy, violent, and is worth your time to see in theaters.
okay? I'm here. I'm here. It's been a while since you've had one of those nightmares. Tell me, what was it about?
It's only fragments. Nothing's clear.
Having gone in fairly cautious, I love Dune Part 1 after all. I can say without a shred of a doubt that Dune Part 2 exceeded every expectation I had. Expectations that were, understandably, very high. Yes, the cast is phenomenal, but the real star of this movie is the combination of the sound and visuals.
This is a form of power that our world has not yet seen. The ultimate power.
It's transportive, it's awe-inspiring. It is a magnificent masterclass in filmmaking, an undeniable cinematic masterpiece that is a shining example of perfection within the genre. Dune Part 2 is an action-packed and emotional ride through the tragedy of war, a testament to humanity's talent in expressive craftsmanship, and is one of my favorite films of all time.
Consider what you're about to do, Paul Atreides.
Silence!
This prophecy is how they enslave us!
Thank you for stopping by and checking out the video. Here at Get to the Conclusion Reviews, my goal is to provide a quick but thorough critique of a film's narrative, performative, and technical aspects, giving you the best information in the most digestible format. If that is something that interests you, a like and a subscription would be greatly appreciated. But what about you? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read what you have to say.